Well, hello, fellow International Rescue Cadets. It is I, the Knight. Before I get to the specifications that were revealed for Thunderbird 2 this week, which was awesome, I am so super psyched to be able to tell you this. I know the Facebook page and ITV have already revealed this information, but I can also reveal to my subscribers, my audience, my fans, that Christmas has come early for us Thunderbird fans, because April 4, 2015 at 5 PM on ITV1 with a double bill premiere episode, Thunderbirds Are Go, is not this weekend, but Easter weekend. All I can say is, that is grade A awesome! Yes, indeed. Saturday week, the boys are back in town. I cued the music, but we don't do that. But anyway, to the point at hand, why we're here. Thunderbird 2, if I can get it to just do that, right? And I'll put right there. Right, let's get into the specifications. And it should be worth noting, even with the air intake update, if you compare this to the original Thunderbird 2 that debuted in September of 1965, you look at it from one angle. If you looked at it from a distance, you wouldn't be able to tell much of a difference. And from what I've been told, there's only a 30% difference in regards to the updates, modifications, and the redesigns they've done to these beautiful machines. So that's always a good thing. Now I want to take a little pay attention to the front, where we have these two nozzles. There we've got in-flight refueling nozzle. Now this is where I think they've made some of the smarter and more plausible modifications, making it that little bit more believable. With a cargo air freighter the size of this green Leviathan, fuel consumption is an issue. I grant by the time, in whatever timeline this is supposed to be, if they're still going to go by 2065 like it was with the original, Thunderbird 2 will require mass amounts of fuel just to get from A to B. The communication and sensors pole, I don't really understand why they have to have sensors at the front, considering most radio signals go to the antennas of most aircraft today, and they're concealed. So I'm not 100% sure why that was necessary. I mean, for the audience, I kind of get it that they need to have something they can focus and reference on. That's understandable, but you know, even on most cars these days where they have the radio antennas built in, it's covered over so that if a car goes for the car wash, it doesn't get wrecked apart. Although the idea of Thunderbird 2 going through the air wash, I suppose you would need something to make it a little bit more plausible. But the refueling nozzle at the front totally makes sense. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the major differences to International Rescue's Vital vehicle, considering most operations with the original series, you know, focused around Thunderbird 2 with, you know, Thunderbird 1 is the reconnaissance craft. It goes ahead, tells them, oh, we have this scenario with the river, we need Virgil to come along with Thunderbird 2 with Pod 4 and the recovery vehicles just to get this done. And they, you know, they go and bring Thunderbird 2 with their vehicles. I mean, with the supercharged intake system, because of the sheer mass and volume of size that Thunderbird 2 has, you need a lot of air intake just for those engines to cope. So that totally makes sense, and evidently Derek Medding said in an interview in '93, if he would redesign the crafts again, he would really change the size of the air intakes for Thunderbird 2. So that makes sense. From what I understand, the flaps, wings at the side, call them what you will, apparently these will actually retract upwards whilst Thunderbird 2 is stationary inside the hangar at Tracy Island, which kind of makes sense in some respect, just so that it can save on space and whatnot. I don't know how much more they're going to add to it, other than, you know, just to try and make the thing go faster, but kind of like that. Now I'm looking at the cargo bay pod where it says assembly factory. Now, not knowing the ins and outs of what this new series is going to do, I can only presume this is where brains will probably come into effect on some missions and actually assist in building new gadgets, building new vehicles, and have to improvise on the spot. Again, I'm only reacting to the information I'm given here, but it does sound like that is kind of what they're going for. But in terms of the shape of the pod, not really much has changed. Then we've got the primary thrust nozzles. That's not really, hasn't changed much, other than adding the extra length and where it says, warning, jet blast. At least they're warning people about it, and being somewhat politically correct. The VTOL thrusters are pretty much where they were last time, but from what I've seen, from the very brief clip where the Hood's talking about Thunderbird 2 and Virgil, they look a little bit more elongated, and it just seems to be improved. I mean, there's not really much you could change with the VTOL thruster, unless of course you find a way to actually get it to land that little bit more gently. But other than that, there's not really much more I can comment on in regards to you know, what is considered probably their mascot ship, because, you know, there are going to be people that had soft spots for Thunderbird 4 or Thunderbird 3, but the majority of most Thunderbird fans, they loved the big green giant that was Thunderbird 2, because you never knew what was going to be in those pods. You didn't know if the mole was going to be there, the Firefly, the elevator cars, the Domino, which I think was only used once in the Duchess assignment, which was used by Scott. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the new and improved Thunderbird 2 can do. And of course, wow, what a way to get the Easter holidays kicked off with the return of arguably one of the greatest TV shows in history, making a comeback and doing it with a double bill episode. It's almost in a similar vein to how TV did things in the 80s or even in the late 70s with things like The Incredible Hulk and Knight Rider. Some seasons would open up with a 2-hour premiere episode. Now obviously in the case of Thunderbirds, it would be stretching things a little bit to be able to do a 2-hour season opener. I mean, in the case of how Thunderbird episode formats are going to go, considering they're only going to be 25 minutes apiece, that would be almost like a quarter of the season gone already. But, you know, it's just to be able to get people to be given a little bit more than what they would normally get on an everyday week. Because Knight Rider would always start with a 2-hour opener for each season, Goliath being one of the best ones. But Saturday, April 4, 2015, I am super psyched, I am super ready, and this is where I want you, my fellow cadets, to lend me some ideas as to what the successor series is going to be called for Before the Storm, because Before the Storm, as it implies, is before the series takes off, before Thunderbirds comes back in. So if you can think of, you know, here's a couple of ones I got. Either After the Storm, Mission Complete, After the Rescue, or Rescue Epilogue. Or give me some ideas. You can't have Thunderbirds review in the title because issues. You know, I don't want to get started in things like that because, trust me, it's just not worth it. But yeah, just a little over a week to go, and we'll hear that iconic countdown once more. Thunderbirds are go.